But I woke up to the sound of breathing loud, heavy, and right beside my bed. For a moment I froze, too afraid to move, too afraid to even open my eyes. My apartment door was locked, the windows sealed shut, and I lived alone. But the sound was unmistakable. Someone or something was in my room. What would you do if you were alone in bed and woke up to the sound of someone breathing right next to you? My name's Alex. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment on the third floor of a quiet building. Nothing special. I'd been living there for about 2 years without anything strange happening. In fact, I used to enjoy the solitude. I'd work, come home, cook, scroll through Reddit, maybe watch something, and then collapse into bed. My life was simple, boring even, and that was fine with me. I liked the silence, I liked the routine, and I liked knowing I was safe behind locked doors. That's what I thought, until the night everything changed. It started innocently enough. I woke up one night around 2:45 a.m., certain I had heard whispering, not just noise, but actual words. I blinked into the darkness, my ears straining. At first I thought I had left my phone playing a podcast or video, but when I checked, the screen was black, battery nearly dead. I told myself I must have been dreaming and rolled over, but something about the way the whispers had sounded lingered in my mind. They hadn't felt like a dream. They had felt close, like someone was right beside me, whispering into my ear. The following night, it happened again. This time, the whispering was clearer, raspy, slow, almost like a secret being shared. I couldn't understand the words, but I could feel the intention. It was aimed at me. I bolted upright, flicking on the light, heart hammering. My room was empty, just the same 4 walls, the same creaky dresser, the same mirror across from my bed reflecting my pale, wide-eyed face. I told myself it was stress, maybe even sleep paralysis. But the fear that settled in my chest didn't fade with daylight. By the 3rd night, I started to dread going to bed. I double-checked the locks, peered out the windows, even shoved a chair under the doorknob like I'd seen in movies. Still, I woke up. Still, I heard the whispers. And worse, they were closer now. They weren't drifting through the air. They were at my bedside. I could almost feel the breath against my skin. Sleep deprivation does strange things to the mind. At work, I caught myself staring off into nothing, unable to focus. My co-workers asked if I was sick. I lied and said I just had trouble sleeping. How could I explain that every night, without fail, something woke me up at 3 a.m. and whispered things I couldn't understand? By the end of the week, the whispers had evolved. They weren't just noises anymore. I could hear my name, not once, not twice, but over and over, rasped in a voice that sounded almost like mine. Alex, Alex, always just beyond the veil of darkness. One night, I tried staying up. I forced myself to sit in bed, blanket clutched around me, eyes fixed on the door. But for nearly 3 hours, nothing happened. I started to relax, thinking maybe it was finally over. But at exactly 3:12 a.m., I heard it. The sound of breathing. Slow, steady, inhumanly calm. Not through the door, not from the hallway. It was right there in the room with me. I turned on the light so fast my fingers fumbled against the switch. And of course, nothing. Just the mirror staring back at me from across the room. But I swear, my reflection smiled. After that night, I started noticing other things. My reflection didn't feel right. It seemed delayed, as if it lagged behind my movements by a split second. I'd raise my hand, and it would follow but a heartbeat too late. At first, I chalked it up to exhaustion, my mind playing tricks on me. But one night, when I leaned in close to the mirror, my reflection leaned closer to it, and when I stopped, it kept moving forward, smiling until its forehead nearly touched the glass. I backed away, heart pounding, convinced I was losing my mind. That's when I decided to record myself sleeping. I set up my phone on a stand across the room, angled toward my bed. That night, as always, I woke up at 3:12. I felt the whispers, the breathing, but I forced myself to stay still. In the morning, I checked the footage. At first, it was fine, just me tossing and turning. Then, at exactly 3:12, the screen flickered, static filling the frame for half a second. When the picture returned, I wasn't alone. There was someone standing over my bed, and it looked like me. I froze as I watched the figure lean down, its pale face inches from mine, lips moving. I couldn't hear the words. It was as if the audio had been erased, but I knew what it was doing. It was whispering, just like I'd heard every night. And then, the worst part, for 3 frames, clear as day, it turned and looked directly into the camera. Its eyes were nothing but black pits. I deleted the video, but it didn't matter. I couldn't delete what I had seen. Over the next few nights, things escalated. I started hearing footsteps pacing my apartment, even though I lived alone. My kitchen chairs would be moved when I woke up, sometimes stacked on top of each other like some kind of game. Once I found my front door wide open at dawn, the chair I'd wedged under the knob tossed halfway across the room. And always, I woke at 3:12 a.m. The climax came 3 weeks in. I remember because I had been drinking, trying desperately to knock myself out so I wouldn't wake up again. But alcohol didn't save me. At 3:12, my eyes snapped open like always. The air in the room felt heavy, charged, like a storm was about to break. Then I felt it, a weight on the bed, the mattress sinking beside me. My breath caught in my throat as the blankets shifted, as if someone was crawling under them. The cold touch of a hand slid across my chest, pressing down, pinning me in place. I wanted to scream, to thrash, to fight, but I couldn't move. Slowly, I turned my head, inches from my face. Staring into me with an unnatural grin was my own reflection. Its skin was grey, its smile too wide, its teeth jagged, its voice rasped against my ear. "You're not supposed to be here." My body convulsed as I screamed, slamming my fist against the lamp. The light filled the room empty, just me, alone, gasping for air, my chest still cold where that thing had touched me. Since that night, I can't bring myself to sleep in my bed. I drag blankets to the couch, keeping the TV on all night, hoping the sound will drown out whatever waits for me in the silence. But it doesn't matter. Every night at exactly 3:12, I wake up. Sometimes, when I glance at the dark screen of the TV, I see something staring back. A face. My face. Smiling when I'm not. And sometimes, I swear it moves before I do. So tell me, would you dare sleep alone, knowing something might be crawling into bed with you at 3:12 a.m.?